oof, that means driver licenses are for professionals. And they're not talking about most people. And it happened about, it took me about 2 seconds to put that all together in my head. And I go, wait till I tell the world this. And
have you had interactions with her?
oh yeah, the first time I met her, I thought maybe, no, not the first time, but the first time I met her, I thought maybe we could do something together because she's an attorney. She went to law school, and this is back
Early 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And within 2 minutes of meeting her, I realized I would never.
This woman was whack.
I would never be her friend. She would never be my friend.
She was just a bitter woman, or what? Like, what happened? What?
Well, she didn't seem. She had really strong feelings, but she didn't seem to be that coherent. When people would ask her tough questions, she'd say, well, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. And
did you ask her a question? Did you?
No, I was in an argumentative position with her, typically.
So
she was lobbying on one side of a bill, and I'd be lobbying on the other side of a bill.
Oh, okay. So she was like your counterpart. Like, you were trying to get something through that was the opposite of what she was trying to get something through. Or she just wanted
the same bill. Typically, it wasn't two bills; it was the same bill. I would be for it, and she might be against it, or vice versa.
And so does that, when you're in the Capitol and you're for something and somebody else is against it, does that cause tension between people?
Everybody does that. I mean, everybody's there for or against a bill.
Right.
And they have all these hearings for these differences to be resolved, and it's just part of the way business is done down there.
So when you're encountering Kate Brown up until 97, when you're trying to get this other draft in or bill in, your encounters with Kate Brown were like based on other bills that you were for or against, or did you just interact with her in the lobby somewhere?
No, we didn't do that.
No,
we didn't just interact.
You didn't.
No.
So okay, and so in 97, when she's telling you, and you're trying to figure out why she's
how can a gal, one gal who wasn't there, get the whole group to reverse their unanimous vote to support a bill? How did you do that? And she wouldn't tell me.
You approached her, and you were just
I'm walking down the hall, and I ran into her. What?
And they told you, Kate Brown said, don't do what Richard wants you to do.
That's right.
And she wouldn't tell you.
No.
Ugh. Okay.
And she never had.
So what we're getting at is the history. You've got a lot of history in the Capitol with a lot of players who are still there.
Well, most of them are gone.
Okay, but
that was 40 years ago or almost.
Oh, you've got a lot of history at the Capitol, how this works, the process. You might not know a lot of people that are still there, but you've met a lot of people along the way who are a part of things that happened with the history of Oregon. And something happened.
Oh, now you're getting...
And
now you're talking, and in time, the time frame is 2 years earlier than the committed marriage law. you know.
So I want people to know that when you came to Oregon, your focus was, I mean, you were fighting for your child, and your focus was family court, father's rights, and that was your into the Capitol. But while you were at the Capitol and with Tom,
Yeah,
you,
there was. I know what you're talking about. It's there was a bill to allow the Support Enforcement Division of the Justice Department, the Department
support and enforcement.
Support Enforcement,
Oh, support enforcement.
SED,
The SED for the
Department of Justice.
Department of Justice. Okay.
He and John Ellis was his name, and John Ellis was one of my longtime bad guys. I mean, he was always, and I don't know how he was that, how he was a divorced dad himself, but he was so into making things worse for them. And he said his bill was, well, he talked to Senator Neil Bryant's Business Law and Government Committee in June of 1995, and he said, this year you have to, you must pass this law that allows us to suspend the licenses of doctors, architects, landscapers, and other professionals.
What year was that? 94?
95.
95?
95 is the odd number.
Odd number.
Yeah.
So this is 95. This is a Senate bill or a House bill? Or what can we do?
I don't even remember that.
And he's testifying.
It was probably a House bill, or I don't know.
He's testifying on the floor, and you're there. Why?
I'm opposing it.
Okay.
I'm not into taking licenses from people who need to work under that license to pay child support.
Okay. So now we got the connection. So you're there to testify against it, and he's there arguing for this bill.
Yeah, and he says you have to pass this because equal protection under the law means the ex-spouses of doctors, architects, landscapers, and other professionals, they need to have the same protection that the ex-spouses of drivers had. And last legislative session, you gave us the authority to suspend driver licenses when they're behind $2,500 or 3 months.
The authority to suspend driver's licenses, and because that was passed and given to the SED,
That authority.
That authority was granted to the SED. So then he was there again after other licenses, using that as his argument.
Yeah, he said you have to do this year because you already gave us the same authority to suspend driver licenses last legislative session.
Okay, and that triggered you. It clicked. Something clicked.
Oof. That means driver licenses are for professionals, and they're not talking about most people. And it happened about, it took me about 2 seconds to put that all together in my head. And I'm going, wait till I tell the world this. And, and I had become the first father in Oregon to divorce his kid by then. And I did that to take my kid out of the middle of a fight that would have been raging for 8.5 years, right?
Yeah.
And so I was really pissed off, it's just, and I was so angry at the state. I said, wait till I tell the world about this. And
did Tom come to mind when you heard that?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that all the little things that Tom told me over the years, when he didn't. We didn't spend time specifically talking about the motor vehicle laws, but he was constantly suggesting that I should look at it, and I go, no, I can't. But and he told me about the difference between the people, and persons.
Which is a big deal.
That's fundamental. All laws. Well, I shouldn't say. We shouldn't say all laws. There are no laws that are written for the people, or written to regulate the people. Laws are written for persons, and persons are corporate entities. And you can look that up in this chapter, the Oregon Revised Statutes, called Statutory Constructions. It's chapter 174. And it describes it's corporate entities. And then people are described in Article 1, Section 1,